A crushing wall of white ice advanced across the ancient northern valleys. Freezing winds stripped the last green leaves from the dying forest canopy. Ancient tribes watched their traditional hunting grounds vanish beneath deep snowpacks. Every single night brought temperatures capable of freezing human blood instantly. Normal primitive shelters crumbled easily under the weight of severe blizzards. One desperate clan gathered inside a damp cave to plan their survival. An old leader pointed toward the dangerous peaks of the southern horizon. They needed to find completely new ways to generate reliable warmth. Wood was becoming incredibly scarce across the barren, wind-swept steppes. A young scout discovered strange tracks frozen deep into the mud. A massive cave bear defended its warm den from human intruders. The hunters barely escaped the roaring beast by sprinting down slopes. They realized that standard hunting tactics would no longer keep them alive. Traditional flint tools snapped easily against the dense, iron-hard permafrost ground. The clan needed to invent entirely new technology using heavy bones. A clever artisan began carving a sharp needle from a splintered rib. This simple tool allowed them to sew tight, wind-proof leather clothing. Without layers of tailored fur, frostbite claimed fingers within minutes. Men traveled miles across ice sheets just to harvest fresh sinew. A fierce blizzard trapped 3 hunters far from their home cave. They quickly dug a small snow trench to block the howling wind. Body heat kept them alive inside that claustrophobic frozen bunker. The next morning revealed a completely transformed and alien landscape. A distant pack of dire wolves prowled along the riverbed. Humans had to constantly compete with these massive apex predators. The tribe discovered that dried animal dung could actually burn. This pungent fuel saved them when dry wood became entirely unavailable. The smoke kept insects away, but irritated human lungs severely. An elite hunting group tracked a lone woolly rhino for days. They constructed a deep pitfall trap using sharp bone stakes. The massive beast crashed through the hidden cover with a thud. Securing this kill meant food for the entire community for months. Nothing from the animal went to waste during these desperate times. Thick fat layers were boiled down to create primitive tallow lamps. These tiny lights illuminated the deepest, darkest corners of their cave. An artist began painting strange symbols using red ochre paste. The paintings recorded their dangerous journeys across the shifting ice fields. Outside, a massive snowstorm threatened to bury the cave entrance completely. The tribe worked together to clear the freezing snow blockages. An unexpected thaw caused a dangerous avalanche on the upper ridges. Huge boulders crashed down into the narrow valley path below. One family became completely separated from the main tribal group. They constructed a temporary shelter using giant prehistoric horse bones. A lone saber-toothed cat stalked the perimeter of their camp. The father waved a flaming torch to keep the predator away. Flames were the only effective psychological shield against prehistoric monsters. By morning, the big cat had retreated back into the pines. The family packed their meager belongings into crude leather baskets. They began a long trek across the dangerous sheet of ice. Deep glacial crevasses threatened to swallow them with every single step. They used long wooden poles to test the strength of snowbridges. A sudden crack echoed loudly beneath the mother's fur boots. Her partner quickly threw a thick braided leather rope forward. Together, they pulled her up onto the solid stone shelf. They rested briefly inside the wind shadow of a massive boulder. Finding clean drinking water was surprisingly difficult in this frozen world. Eating snow directly lowered core body temperature to dangerous levels. They had to melt it inside hollowed stones near fires. Meanwhile, the main tribe discovered a geothermal hot spring valley. The rising steam created a warm microclimate amidst the surrounding ice. This hidden oasis provided refuge for many different animal species. The humans quickly established a permanent base camp near the water. They utilized sharp bone awls to puncture thick animal skins. Women wove watertight footwear to protect feet from deadly frost. A group of young hunters encountered a short-faced bear. They combined their spears to form a solid defensive wall. The giant predator decided to hunt easier prey down below. The clan celebrated another day of survival with shared stories. An elder demonstrated how to preserve meat using cold ice. This makeshift freezer prevented precious food spoils during warm spells. They also dried thin strips of muscle over small, smoky fires. Lightweight, portable food was absolutely essential for long seasonal migrations. The separated family finally spotted smoke from the hot spring camp. They hurried down the final slope as dusk began falling. The tribal reunion was marked by joyful cheers and embraces. They shared the new survival techniques they had randomly discovered. Knowledge was their most valuable weapon against the changing planet. A fierce windstorm rattled the valley walls the next evening. The hot spring water levels began dropping alarmingly fast. Volcanic activity beneath the earth was shifting the hot streams. They had to prepare for another immediate and difficult migration. A scout mapped a potential route using a flat piece of slate. The path led directly through a territory ruled by cave bears. They waited until the brightest part of midday to move. The travelers walked in single file to minimize tracks left behind. An ancient bird circled high above the slow-moving column. They carried glowing coals inside tightly wrapped leather pouches. Preserving the embers meant they could start fires almost instantly. They found an abandoned shelter built by another ancient clan. Inside lay a mysterious carved stone tablet covered in notches. The marks tracked the exact cycles of the harsh winter moon. This early calendar helped them predict when the worst storms would arrive. A sudden rustling in the frozen brush startled the entire group. A massive aurochs broke through the trees looking for grass. The hunters lowered their weapons and let the peaceful animal pass. Conserving physical energy was far more important than reckless fighting. They finally reached the wide plains of the Great Southern Valley. A golden afternoon sun broke through the heavy gray winter clouds. The tribe knew their new survival methods had truly saved them. Human ingenuity had officially triumphed over the ultimate icy apocalypse.